we'll gather around, feel the love come down. Blue elephant is strong, together we belong. In every comment.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, Resiners just released today their new curing machine. Now, this thing has everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything short of a bubble remover. I mean, it is amazing. So, their whole thing is to kind of save space and time and all of the things. So in the box you get the machine itself. They also give you this it's like really heavy duty silicone mat, and in the middle where I'm kind of pointing right now, that is where the cure station is for the UV light that they have on there. Yes, it is a UV cure as well, which is pretty awesome. Now you can flip the actual like base of the machine two different ways. One to have it for your deeper molds, one for your more shallow molds. There are all of the UV lights that you have. So this is like a 3-in-1 machine. You can do deep molds, shallow molds, and cure your UV resin pieces all with one thing, saving space. And you can see how deep it is right there, and then how shallow it is with the other one. Not only that, they give you obviously your detailed instructions on how to use the machine, all of the things, what all the buttons do, all of that good stuff. It also is like the base of it is so sturdy. It is made with such a strong silicone, or not silicone, plastic, which is great because I don't know about you guys, but I've had many curing machines in the past, and all they do is they end up warping and then you can't use them anymore. So this one I have high hopes for. We'll see. They also sent me some UV resin to play around with, and this is a new hand mixer that they have recently come out with. It comes with a silicone mixing bowl. This tool right here, absolutely love it. It is great for scraping resin off of all kinds of things. And then you stick the lid onto the actual silicone cup. Now this also works with several different cups. You can kind of see the instructions. It shows you what size cups that you can also use this machine on. There's two different like heights, I guess, for your silicone paddle. There's the little adjustment piece if you have a deeper cup. This way your paddle goes down lower. It also has 3 speeds, which is kind of cool. And I thought this was really interesting. So right here, this is medium speed. And then there's 2 on the top where you can take the little handle out, put it on top. And this is slow. And then the other one's fast. Really cool how that works. I mean, I'm going the same hand motion, no faster, no slower than I was on any of them. And you can see how fast here in a second, once I get my angle right, you can see how fast the paddle actually moves. Now, when you actually put this onto the cup, it does take a little bit of practice. You have to kind of move the cup around it's best to do it like sitting down once you pour your resin in there. We'll go over it here in a minute. So today I'm using some Into resin molds. Now these are the new ones that I got recently. Haven't done the unboxing on them yet. Well, I've done it. I just haven't showed you. We're kind of doing things a little out of order. I'm using Let's Resin's epoxy resin for this today, for this part of it anyway. And we are going to use some of the Let's Resin alcohol inks. Now to put this on, if you're using the silicone cup, you kind of gotta pull the cup away and get it sit into that groove. And it goes on. It just takes a minute to figure out what you're doing. Now, in the plastic cups, obviously, it's just going to sit right on it and then mix it. If you don't have an automatic mixer, this works really well. When I looked at the website, it was pretty inexpensive to use too, and it does save your hands. The paddle is a silicone paddle, comes off like it cleans super easy. I mean, literally 2 seconds. Now, they also sent me their new Airless Pro bubble remover, and we are going to be using this today as well. I just wanted to show you a quick unboxing of it, what comes in the box. You get some of the nice plastic cups, which I absolutely love. You get your AC adapter, and then you get the machine itself. Now, the one thing that this does not have is a silicone mat for the bottom of it, and if you are listening, resiners, that would be great if you included that in there. It really would. I always put one in there. It holds 3 of these standard size plastic cups, which is nice. Now, I did try the tall, I don't know if it's like a 36-ounce one or whatever. That was too tall for the machine. It did not fit in there. So, but it does hold 3 of these. This works super, super well. Now, it has the release in the back where you have to pull out the little plug to release the pressure. It has the AI function on it, automatically turns on for 5 minutes. You can adjust the time if you need to, but look how clear that resin is. Now, I do want to make note that as I kind of mix up my resins, I tried it with the silicone mixing cup that came with that mixer that I used, right? I would recommend, and this isn't the first time that this has happened to me, so I'm not saying that it's an issue with this machine at all. I'm saying it's an issue across the board because it has happened in other machines. When I used it with the silicone cup, if you notice that you are putting silicone cups in your bubble removers and they are coming out with more bubbles, or it's not working right, like it's just not pulling the bubbles out, the silicone cups, they release air somehow, and honestly, I feel like they cause more air to come into your resin than a plastic cup would. So I would recommend that if you are to use it, it may be in your best interest to use a plastic mixing cup, at least maybe just for putting it in the bubble remover if you prefer using silicone cups to mix with, right? That's just my recommendation. Me personally, I would prefer using plastic cups all day long anyway, just because I can see the measurements on them. They don't ever fade away. I feel like with silicone mixing cups that when you're doing it, they tend to, I feel like they like outstretch, deform, whatever, and that could kind of mess with your mixing ratios when if you're using them to measure your resin, if that makes sense. So I don't know, but honestly, if you're worried about cleanup, get you some of these little silicone spatulas that I've been using, and you don't even have to worry about it because it will scrape every last little drip of resin out of your cup so that you can reuse them without having to worry about if it's messing up because the resin is sitting on the bottom of your cup and your measurements are going to be off. Okay, back to the video. So I'm just putting in alcohol inks into my resin. Now, for the heart, I decided that I wanted to go up the purplish red color because it's one of my favorite colors of alcohol ink. I think it's just absolutely stunning. For the star, I did yellow. I figured it's a star, so that's what we're gonna do. Now for the moon, I wanted to go a little different, so I went with my Let's Resin metallic alcohol inks, and I did one in, I think it's white silver or silver white, something like that, and then the pearl, and I did it split, so I did it half and half. And I just thought that that would be kind of cool. And then I had some of the yellow left over, so I took a tiny bit of the yellow and drizzled it just on the back of this piece. I thought it would kind of give it maybe, so it's not like stark yellow because the moon isn't yellow, but I thought that it could give it a cool effect, kind of have that hint of yellow because it's not like gray and it's not white either. Anyway, I thought it would be cool, so that's what I'm doing. For the leftover resin, I'm just using, this is I think it's the diamond turtle mold from Into Resin, that little frog guy. And then I'm also going to use the water ripple butterfly mold just because it's so pretty and I love it so much. Now, for this dolphin, what I want to do is I want to kind of create an ocean beachy type deal with it as far as colors go. So I am using one of the metallic inks for the sand color, and I think it's like a kind of like a coppery-ish or light gold or something like that. It's a very light color. Didn't have quite enough color to it, so I took a drop of latte and just added that to it just to get it more looking like sand. I mean, it looks more yellow to me, but it's fine. It'll be fine. And then I used two different shades of blue in there, a darker and a lighter, and I'm just going to pour the sand color and the lighter blue and then go in with the dark and then take my time and add a little bit more to each of them so that one color doesn't take over more than another and they're kind of in there mostly equally. You know what I mean? Now, these molds, so I don't know if you guys have seen them before, but they come with little, like each one of the molds has the little silicone thingy in there so that you can get a hole in it, right? Um, I'm not, they're very small holes. So best that you can stick through there, I think based upon what I've seen. Now, I've not done it at this point, not even for the video. I didn't like string them up. Um, but I feel like fishing wire or that kind of stretchy cord that you would use for bracelet making is probably best to use in there. Now you may be able to get a very fine piece of wire in there to kind of make like yourself a jump ring or whatever, but they are very chunky. I think they're more for like maybe hanging in your window or hanging from the rearview mirror of your car, or they would even look really cool as maybe like a pull chain for a ceiling fan or something like that, or a light or something. I think would look really cool. Okay, on to this next bit. Now, I want to check and test how this UV light is in this curing machine and see if it's any good. So for this, we are using the Resiners UV resin, and then we're going to use some glitters from Lrisy, from DIY Craft Warehouse, and another one that I had laying around. And I want to make some kind of fall inspired jewelry, keychains, whatever, purse tags or whatever they're called, bag tags. I don't know what they're called. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so what I did was I want a glittery background. So I'm just taking my UV resin, mix it in with a bunch of glitter because I want it pretty packed. Now, keeping in mind that you don't want it so densely done up with glitter that that UV light isn't going to go through there, because not only does it have to fight through the glitter, right, but it's also got to fight through the silicone mold itself. So do be careful with that. I'm just going to be using 3 of these molds today, and we're going to do one of each size in each of them, and that's simply because of time. This video is on the longer side of things because we're going to try out so many different functions of all of these Resiners machines just to see how they work, and I don't want to, keep you here forever. So I am just doing the background of each and every one of these that I'm choosing to do, and then we're going to cure it and see how this works. Now, at this point, I have not used the machine. So what I'm doing is I'm doing one set of epoxy where I am not putting it in anything, right? Just letting it cure on its own in the wild and whatever. Then I'm doing this now, testing the UV, and then we're going to do another set of the same molds that we did first, but we're going to do them in the curing machine. And I want to kind of compare how it turns out, how fast it cures, all of the things that they claim that they're going to do. So that's what we're going to do. Now, on the machine, where you can see where it says flat, tall, and UV, when I was starting this out, I didn't read the directions because who reads directions, right? But I didn't realize that there was little lights there. They're actually, when you turn the power button on and you hold it down for a second, then it comes on, right? But you can push it like short pushes, and it switches between the flat, the tall, and then the UV. So each one, so I guess so it knows it's got some kind of, I don't know, whatever computer chip or whatever, that it knows if it's on the tall setting, if it's on the flat setting, or if it's on the UV. The fan still comes on with the UV setting, but it also, the lights come on. The lights don't come on when you have the other two modes on. So you can switch in between that using the power button. And then it also gives you where you can switch the time up and down. Now for the UV, it goes up and down in 10-second increments. And for the actual curing machine part of it for epoxy, it's in 30-minute increments, which is kind of cool. Okay, onto these jewelry pieces. Now I have all of these kind of fall stickers that I thought were really, really pretty. And then we have some kind of vintagey, steampunk type deals, which I also liked, that I thought would look pretty, and why not? So that's what we're going to do today. So I want to create layers. I want to create depth in these pieces. I don't want it to just be, oh, she threw a sticker on and put some UV resin in there and called it a day and called that jewelry. That's not what I want. I want there to be depth. I want it to honestly, I really want it to scream fall and Thanksgiving. I mean, I know a lot of you guys don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but because you're outside of the United States, but that's kind of the pieces that I want to create. Now, granted, the ones with the cogs and stuff, maybe not necessarily so much, but they're just really pretty stickers and I really like them. So we're going to do it. But I want to do small layers on here. So I picked my background piece for what I want to go first. Then I'm doing very, very thin layers of UV resin on top, curing it for about a minute, minute and a half. And then I'm going to go in with the next layer. And what that's going to do is we're going to get a lot of depth in these pieces. And you'll see here shortly, like I'm layering up the flowers. Now, could you do it in one sitting and put layers, like the stickers on top of each other? Yeah, you could, but you're not going to get the depth that you would by putting that layer of resin in between. By doing that, you're actually getting the depth because you're building it up higher. It's not just a flat sticker laying on a flat sticker. There's something in between. So it's going to push that background back more and bring your foreground up more, right? So that's what we're aiming to do on here. And there are a multitude of different stickers that I'm going to use to create what I have envisioned in my head. And you'll see here shortly when I get another layer or so built up. I want to say I did like 3, sometimes 4 layers depending on the piece. Now with the cogs, not so much. I didn't do more than 2 layers, and that's simply because it was just going to be too much, right? And that's, I don't want it to be too much. I want it to look good and tell a story, and you can see what's there. With those ones in particular, I think more because of the metallic look to them as well, and they were just so big that by me doing that and putting more than really one layer on there, it was just gonna just be too jumbled up and muddied up and just a mess and just not look good. In this instance, less is more, but you'll see with these other pieces how it's just gonna build up and create that depth and make a beautiful scene that I think turned out quite pretty overall. So at this point, I'm just gonna kind of go through the process of building it up real quick. You don't need me to talk through it all. I'll just be repeating myself over and over again. And then I will be back when we are ready to do the next set of molds and finish this off. I will catch you guys on the flip side.
Golden leaves, they whisper in the breeze. Families gather in the morning freeze. Laughter echoes through the forest trees. Every moment brings us to our knees. Crisp mornings chill sweet embrace. Warmth of love shines on every face. Chatter filling up the cozy space. These moments time will never erase. Crisp mornings chill our bones with delight. Fireside stories glowing through the night. Holding hands till the dawn's early light. In each other we find our true might. Pumpkins scattered on the porch in line. Moms and dads with the sparkle that shines. Kids' laughter, a harmonious sign. Our bond forever, eternally divine. Evening shadows dance as flames ascend. Wrapped in blankets with the sparkle that shines. Watch the leaves in their colorless sign. In this circle, the joy never ends. Evening shadows dance as flames ascend. Wrapped in blankets with the family and friends. Watch the leaves in their colorful bend. In this circle, the joy never ends.
Okay, I am back. We are just finishing up the top coat on these, and then I am going to let them cure for about 5 minutes on each side, and we will see what we have here shortly. Now it is time to do the next set, and this is the set that we are going to put in the curing machine and see how it works. Now, I've mixed up about 6 ounces of resin. I wasn't really sure how much this was going to take, even though I've already done it. I couldn't remember how much I did, and I forgot how many extra pieces I made, so yeah, but it's fine. For this, we are using some Into Resin non-sync glitter. We're going to use their gradient glitter, and then we're also going to use some of their Aurora powders and see what we get. Now, the other pieces, as you know, I did clear, well, not clear, but transparent, right? These ones, I'm curious with the diamond facets that they have on them, how they're going to look with some glitter. Now, hindsight, I think I used too much glitter, and I know, like, typically when I do glitter, I I want it packed in there for the most part. I mean, there's always those pieces that, you just want just a touch just to add a little bit of sparkle to it. And honestly, I kind of think that that's what this should have been. I do think I added too much. Now, I love their non-sync glitter. It is so pretty. It's got um like a gold-ish hue to it when it hits the light. Like it's just super super pretty. Really really like it a lot. And I just they're great. I mean, I really don't know what else to say about it, but I did think I used too much in here. Like for that little bit of resin, that was way, way, way too much. I think less would have been more in this instance as well, and we would have gotten more of the effect of how the glitter floats and just the color that it gives when you add it as an accent and not as the entirety of the thing, if that makes sense. Now, on the heart, which I will be doing here in a moment, let me just tell you, well, honestly, in all of these molds, if you have them, be careful with those little silicone bits that are sticking out that make the hole for you. They are very thin, okay? And I didn't even realize it until I went to pour this, that I broke first time using it, and I ripped it off of the heart one. It's stuck inside the piece. Um, I'm gonna show you here in a minute. Like, there's a little stub of it left, but I ripped the majority off of it in there. So yay me. Um, but yeah, so you want to be very, very careful when you demold. Now, the other thing that I wasn't sure about on these pieces, because when you see the piece online, they only show you the front of it, right? They don't show you the back. So I wasn't sure how far to fill up these molds, because the little silicone do floppies that have the hole, they're not very long. They don't necessarily go to the top of the mold. Like the star pretty much does. The dolphin one has it where, and I'll show you better here in a minute, where it's got a top one that hangs down and a bottom one, and you match them up, and then you pour your resin so it goes the whole way through, right? So you can fill that one up completely. You can fill the star up pretty much completely. The moon, for the most part, yes, but you still have to be careful. And the ones that I'm working on now in the heart, like they're on the shorter side, at least in mine anyway. So I wasn't sure like how far am I supposed to fill it up in the mold? Like, should I be filling it up the whole way? Should I not? And without being able to see the back of the piece online, I really wasn't sure how it was that they did it. Like, did they make it twice and combine the two together? So that you have the front and the back, and it's like the two fronts on the outside, and then the backs together. Like, I mean, that could still be a thing. You still may be able to do that. We're gonna play around with that at a later date, I think, because I'd like to know. But yeah, I wasn't sure. So I figured, all in all, even if I fill it up too much, I have a drill. As long as the hole's already started there, then I know where it's at, and I can just go in and just, buzz it out the rest of the way. Is it inconvenient? Yes, but it is what it is, and it's fine. But these molds are super cute, and I do have some ideas for them that, like I said, at a later date, future video, at some point we'll get into. This is not really about that right now, but I just really wanted to see what they are and play around with them and whatever, because I was kind of excited about them. Anyway, so I'm just going in here now. The gradient glitter, which is what I've got in this one and in the heart. This point, I have used it several times before, and I've not been able to figure out how to make it get the gradient look. So it hasn't worked for me. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe it will this time. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. Now, with the dolphin, because it is so much bigger, and it's such a pretty, pretty piece, because it's so much bigger, I am using much more resin than what I used before, and I'm only doing it in one color. But I also realized that I put one extra little scoop of the glitter in here. However, it ended up being less than the amount of glitter that I put in the rest of them, because they had less resin in them. So it was less glitter to resin ratio. And this one I like so much better than all of them. Not the pieces themselves, but just how the glitter kind of shows, and the colors that you get. And we'll see here when I go to demold. Now, I did add a little bit of the Aurora powder, and that was just to kind of see if it would do anything. And here you can see how I lined up those two pieces. The first time I did it, I didn't do that because I didn't realize that you had to, I guess. So the holes are a little bit off, but it's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Now I'm going in here very slowly, and I'm taking my silicone tool and just running it along all of the edges of this piece. Now, you do have to be careful for bubbles, and I would highly recommend using a bubble remover for these, especially this one and the moon. Like the other ones, it's just like a typical mold, but those two, the dolphin and the moon, I would highly recommend using a bubble remover if you have one, simply because the fact that most of the mold is covered up with silicone, so there is not a lot of room for those bubbles to escape, and you don't want them trapped on the backside and have a really rough piece and it just not look right on the backside because of the amount of bubbles. So pour slow, mix slow, throw it through your bubble remover, do all of the things to, help yourself out. Okay, so this is the most sturdy base of any curing machine, and I've owned several that I have ever seen. We're going to do this on the short side because all of my, or no, I'm sorry, we're doing this on the tall side because some of them are chunky, like that dolphin mold is kind of chunky and whatever. But look how many molds this holds. I think when I counted it when I was editing, I think there was like 10 molds I was able to get in here and still have a little bit of space that if I maneuvered them a little bit differently, I could have stuck a couple more tiny molds in here. But the amount of space, the amount of molds that I was able to get into there is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I do have the silicone mat down. Now we are just going to get the cover on here in a second. And then I'll move it so you guys can kind of sort of see. I don't know if you'll be able to see the light underneath where it says flat, tall, and UV because of how, like, it's not super bright. So right now it's on UV. You can see it on there, right? And then I'm pushing the wrong button. Now I'm starting to toggle between the two different ones. Now, I went ahead and let this sit for 2 hours just to see what it would do in 2 hours. Typically, in my other curing machine, it takes 3 hours to cure regular epoxy resin. So I did check it after it did the cool down of the 2 hours. It was not there yet. So I did put it in for that 3rd hour and it was fine. It does have, after it runs for the however many hours that you put it on, it does have a cool down. I think it said like 20 minutes where it cools down your pieces. It cools down the machine before it shuts off and you can then take your pieces out. Okay, on to these pieces. Now, do you see how I think they turned out really cute? Do you see the depth in there that I built up by doing the layering of the different pieces? Now, hindsight, maybe I should have chose a different glitter for the background of some of them. It's fine. All in all, I think they turned out really, really cute anyway. Like, I like them a lot. The butterfly, this is one that I just decided that one item was enough just because, again, if I would have gone with more on these ones. Now, I did double up on that a little bit. And, I mean, it's not awful. This one, I forgot that I didn't flip them over at this point and cure on the other side. I only did the one side. And then I demolded, so it's not quite ready yet. So I'm just going to stick that back in there and then I will do that. And the rest of them, I'll just flip them all over and put them under there. But look, this one may be my favorite one. I really like this one a lot. I really do. I think it's so pretty with the pumpkin. I can't hold anything for whatever reason this day, guys. I can't tell you how many things I've dropped. That one turned out really cute too. This, I don't know what happened with this one. It got like this weird like blob in there, which doesn't make any sense at all because when I did it, it was completely like beautifully domed. I don't understand. I don't know. Okay, so now it is time to demold the first set of yeah, the first set of stuff that we made. These are just some extras that I made up with the leftover resin that I had from doing the pieces. Butterfly, I mean, it always turns out beautiful, but look how pretty it is once I can figure out how to hold it. Which isn't now. I think it turned out quite pretty. Now, these are the ones that I left to cure on their own by themselves without any help from anything. I did have a little bit of clear resin left over. You can see the clear spot on him. I just dumped it in there to finish kind of filling the mold up and use the resin up the rest of the way. Now with him, I did add that yellow, and you can kind of just see that yellow peeking through. I think he turned out really, really cute. Like, I like it a lot. All right, now time for the main pieces. Let's see how these turned out. Now for these two, I had planned on doing other colors with instead of using the same ones, but it's fine. It'll be fine. So I think they turned out really nice. Now, this is the set that when I put it through the debubbler, I had it in the silicone cup and it did not get out all the bubbles. In fact, like I said, I feel like it created more bubbles. Now, was it like horrible? No, but it wasn't as clear as the other ones. So there are a couple of air bubbles here and there in there, but I think the pieces look great. I love the shine on them, just the way that the light catches it. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this color so much, guys. This is such a pretty color. And you can just see where that silicone is in that stupid hole. I'm so mad at myself for doing that. But it is a beautiful, beautiful heart. Now on to the moon. Now I added a little bit of yellow in the background of this one as well. And you can just see it, not quite as much as the turtle, because I think I added more in the turtle, but you can just see it here and there on there. Again, I think it turned out quite pretty. Now, I've noticed with metallic alcohol inks, they're not as transparent as your normal alcohol inks. This one turned out quite cute as well. Did get some air bubbles on the back, but I mean, it's fine. It'll be fine. Okay. Now it is time for the pieces that we put in here. Now, one thing that I did want to check too was the amount of shrinkage. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but I've noticed that when I put pieces in curing machines, there is typically more shrinkage in them than there are if I don't. Um, I noticed there was a little bit of shrinkage. Is it more than if I had let it stand out and cure? I don't think so. I think it's about even there with that. Um, so not so much that I'm like, oh, I have to go top these off now, which I have had happen in the past. Now, again, some of that could be due to air bubbles and stuff like that, but I don't think it was bad at all. This one. Do you see how pretty that turned out? This is what I did with the blue, and this is the one that I had used more resin and less glitter, and I just absolutely love that one. It is so pretty. This is the gradient. Now, I actually got a gradient, and you can see when I hold it, see on the side? See how you can see it colored shift into there? It actually worked. I'm so happy. I finally got it to work. You don't even know. You don't even know. Of course, it's on this piece and not where I wanted it to, because that wasn't what I had given up, honestly. This one turned out quite cute as well. Again, I think it would have been better had I used less glitter in there. But all in all, I mean, can you see the facets? Yes, you can. Just not as much as you can with it being transparent, which like you could still do glitter and it be transparent and get the effect of both, I think. Um this was the other one that was a gradient and you can see it a little bit, not crazy, not like you can with the purple, but you can see it. All right, let's see how the moon turned out. See, that turned out quite well too. Now, this one I think was the one that I had. No, this was the first one I did. So that's just a yellow. It's a really pretty yellow. It's the star that I had a little bit of the yellow left over and mixed it in with the orange. All right, let's check out this dolphin, which I'm being very careful now that I've realized that I tore off the one in the heart. This is gorgeous. This is how I kind of wish I did all of them, where you can still see through it, but you see how much color and sparkle you're getting, not just from the glitter, but from the facets as well. It's just a totally different look. It's not as transparent as the alcohol inks, but there is still some transparency in there, which I think makes a huge difference on these type of molds. Now, I'm going to put them side by side. I'm curious which one you guys like better. For me personally, I like the transparent ones better, with the exception of the dolphin and the moon. I really like those two a lot with the glitter. Other than that, yeah, my thoughts on the curing machine is I think that it is a great idea. I like having the option that you can just use one machine for all of it. The bubble remover, hands down, fantastic, 100% worth the money that you would spend on it. As far as the UV resin, no issues, no stickiness whatsoever, with the exception of my failure to, cure on the backside. And the little handheld mixer, great for those of you who don't have the automatic one. It saves your hand, easy cleanup, mix it at different speeds. I think it's great. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you guys on Saturday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Together we belong. In every comment right, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue Elephant Crew, this one's all for you. You make dreams come true with everything you do. Each subscriber's heart playing a vital part. Videos we share, showing how much we care. Likes and shares, they grow. You make the channel